we move on to
Thanks, everybody.
to a fireside chat hosted by our friends at 76 Capital. Ty Jackson is online. Hi, Ty, can you hear me? Can you see me?
Hello, Zoltan. How's it going?
Hi, nice to see you. All is well. We're full steam ahead and really eager about this session about the trending odds-on compliance company. So I will leave it to you and come back later once your panel finalizes.
Great. Thank you, Zoltan. Very excited for this. Hi, everyone. I'm Ty Jackson from 76 Capital. Today, we're going to be talking about legal regulated sports betting with Eric Frank. He's the co-founder and CEO of Odds On Compliance. It's a technology and consultancy firm specializing in sports betting, iGaming, and gambling compliance and regulatory frameworks in the US and abroad. So Eric, welcome.
Thanks, Ty. Good to be here. Appreciate the opportunity to speak.
It's great to have you. We at 76 Capital are so excited to be investors in Odds On Compliance. We recently had Eric on our 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show, our weekly podcast featuring top sports executives, athletes, and entrepreneurs. And we got to talk much more in depth about Eric's upbringing and his experience. So make sure to watch that episode of the Sports Leadership Show at youtube.com/76capital. Remember to like and subscribe. And of course, follow Eric on Twitter at Eric Daniel Frank. Subscribe to Odds On Compliance on LinkedIn, and definitely follow 76 Capital on Twitter at 76 Capital for all the latest sports business news and updates. So let's get right into it, Eric. Would love to talk more about you, about Odds On Compliance. So please tell us about yourself, your background, your experience, and of course, what is Odds On Compliance?
Sure. Yeah, again, thanks, Ty. Appreciate the opportunity. A little bit quickly on my background. I have a legal background. I spent 8.5 years approximately at an AmLaw 100 firm, exclusively practicing in the gaming industry. Started in 2008 around the crash and the recession and kind of closing casinos in Atlantic City and around the US. Fast forward 2009, 2010, reopening casinos, both in New Jersey and then the expansion to other states, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, New York, Maryland, et cetera. And spent a lot of time in that space representing casinos, slot manufacturers, high net worth individuals, institutional investors, kind of understanding the regulatory framework, on a state-by-state basis. And fast forward to 2013, you have internet gaming. So 2012, 2013, internet gaming starts to come back to the U.S. And in a regulated fashion in Nevada and New Jersey, and I was based in the Philadelphia area at the time. So really got into that, focused on internet gaming. Obviously saw that as the future, as a future in the U.S. as for the next kind of wave of regulated gaming in the space. Got heavily involved, ended up going in-house to Poker Stars. Stars Group started as their kind of U.S. regulatory counsel, and then expanded that role into to grow into their global compliance officer. So managed 25 licenses around the globe, most across Europe. We launched several markets in the U.S. Managed regulatory affairs around the globe on all aspects. Really is a great way to expand my knowledge in the U.S. Apply to European-based companies and understand how they are looking at the U.S. market and vice versa. Then did that until really until the merger with Flutter in 2020, and started looking at what was next, and really saw a real need in the U.S. for folks in the regulatory compliance space who understood that market from an operational perspective, and talking to folks at all levels in the industry, really saw that there was a need for kind of that type of guidance, and decided to put together, decided to go on my own and start doing consulting work, and that just grew and it has continued to grow, and we now have a solid team of experts, former regulators, former independent testing lab folks, former compliance folks and regulatory folks from operators that we can advise folks, large and small across the industry. So that was kind of one piece of it, that consulting business that we've kind of grown. But what the other big piece of what we've been working on that's really interesting is trying to find ways to use technology to make regulatory and compliance more efficient, and save money for everyone in the space, because dealing with state by state regulation, province by province, and in Canada, as Chantal and the crew there just talked about, and jurisdiction by jurisdiction globally, it is a difficult task, and it requires a lot of understanding across different jurisdictions, and trying to find ways to ensure that you can maintain compliance without just expanding headcount and costs, but really do it in an efficient manner. But an effective manner is important, and so we've been building some technology around that, getting really close to being ready to unveil some of that.
Yeah, it's awesome. And of course, as I said, at 76 Capital, we really invest in world-class entrepreneurs who are building disruptive sports betting, esports, and sports technology companies. And Eric and the whole team at Odds On Compliance really fits that bill perfectly. So just share with me a little more how you leverage, that sort of technology to really assist your clients in navigating the changing, complicated regulatory landscape.
Sure. So, I sat in the seats of people at operators and suppliers and folks in the space for years, and I know the pain that they deal with, and it's Excel spreadsheet after Excel spreadsheet after Excel spreadsheet, and it's trying to find ways to keep all this information, keep it current, keep organized, and so for time we've been trying to help solve that issue, and so what we're building now is basically an AI-backed natural language search capability to kind of review and understand regulations, cross-jurisdictional regulations, understand similarities, understand differences between jurisdictions, and not have that take hours or days or weeks of research, or quite frankly, tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars in external spend to help figure that out. Leverage AI and other forms of technology to really hone that down and make that able to be done in seconds. That kind of research, at least, find all that information. And quite frankly, another big piece of it is, I lived going tab by tab by tab across, the Michigan Gaming Control Board's website, New Jersey Division of Gaming Enforcement's website, Colorado Division of Gaming's website, and so on and so on. And and making sure that as a compliance advisor, as a legal advisor, any type of advisor, trying to provide guidance to folks within your company or to others in the industry, to make sure that you have the most up-to-date information. You have to make sure you have it up to date. And so having to just navigate every time to make sure that your stuff's up to date, and all these different sites looking a little bit different, trying to remember where stuff is on which form do I need, where is it, you're 4 clicks deep on this site, you're 10 clicks deep on that side. What we've kind of brought together is a uniform view on across jurisdictions, to kind of see all that information that you need in a uniform fashion across jurisdictions. So whatever jurisdiction you need to look for that information, you're going to see it in the same format, and you're going to know it's up to date because we maintain it leveraging technology. We maintain it up to date on a daily basis.
Yeah, the problem really resonates. I mean, I can't tell you, for those who don't know, just how complicated the process can be when operating and even investing, cross-jurisdictional with just different laws and regulations in each state. And so, the problem is very big. The solution is certainly very revolutionary. And so just talk a bit more about, some of your clients that you're working with right now, and how you're helping them at the moment.
Yes, on the consulting side, we have a range of clients from operators, large and small, to suppliers, to marketing affiliates, to quite frankly, high net worth individuals looking at the space. And like you said, some of the issues that operators face are just as important to investors, and understanding kind of what the regulatory framework is in one state and how it compares to the next state that's coming on board. From licensing, am I going to have to be required to get licensed? Who has to get licensed? What levels? And that's and so keeping all that information up to date, and being able to advise on it on a cross-jurisdictional basis is incredibly important to us, and important to our clients. So we try and keep with some sections we typically won't disclose our client base, but certainly there are ones that are happy to share. So we advise Genius Sports on all regulatory affairs across the U.S. and special advisor to them there. Those are an example of the larger types of clients we represent. Some of the smaller guys, we represent a startup company in the fantasy space, Better Fantasy, looking to bring a product together, join their advisory board to assist with kind of the regulatory compliance issues that they face on a daily basis.
That's great. Thanks so much for sharing. And of course, you really have great technology, you have a strong team, and you're building this company kind of from scratch, right? This company is a startup still, and you're trying to scale it and grow it. So who are you surrounding yourself with to try and make that happen? And what steps are you taking as a startup founder to really scale this company?
Yeah, so you're exactly right. I mean, this started from nothing. I'm, by nature, I'm a compliance guy. I'm not a serial entrepreneur. But I saw a need. I saw a market, and an opportunity to leverage my experience, and the experience of people I trust. My co-founder, doesn't come from the gaming space at all, but knows technology. He's been in the IT and technology industry for almost 30 years. And quite frankly, on the technology side, it started because he was an outlet for me. We got to know each other outside of work, and I would complain to him about the issues I face and the issues I know probably everybody in my seat, or my former seat, operating or in this industry, in compliance and regulatory, has complained to their people they trust about, and we started working through kind of an idea or mapping out literally on a napkin kind of what we could do to leverage technology and his understanding to help solve this problem. So finding folks that don't understand or don't know gaming, but bring a different perspective is one route I've gone. But at the same time, surrounding myself with experts. So we just announced yesterday the formation of an advisory board, which has experts in their own right. Former regulators, Tom Oriyama, who led the New Jersey Division of Gaming Enforcement, and was there with the DGE for approximately 30 years. Michelle Chatagnier, former chief compliance officer at IGT, and former regulator, and also added Robin Chabra from Tech Corp, another investor in our company. But Robin and I worked together for several years, and from a business perspective, really value his guidance. And then we rounded that out with another person who has no experience in gaming, but has decades of experience in AI, and that's the CEO of our partner company on the data science side, and that's Sanjay Chhabra from Cognistics. It's basically Sanjay and his co-founder are Carnegie Mellon data scientists, some of the smartest guys I've quite frankly ever met, and leveraging what they've learned in data science, completely unrelated to gaming, and bringing that to to the gaming industry I'm really excited about what we can do there.
Surrounding yourself with great people is always, the best way forward when building a company. We're certainly super excited to be a part of this journey with you and to be investing with you in Odds On Compliance. And so I'm excited to hear your thoughts on this. Where do you want to go with this? What do you want Odds On Compliance to be in the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, and I should, of course, I should have mentioned, surrounding myself with the folks at 76. I mean, yourself and Wayne and Chad and everybody have just sharing ideas about the space and how things are growing. It's that's been invaluable as well. Look, I think Odds On Compliance right now, we're focused on the US. We're focused on really two things. One, finalizing and bringing a technology product to the market that is that is going to really, I think, revolutionize and change the way people view or think about regulatory compliance. At the same time, really the other important thing is our clients and making sure that our consulting clients, the folks that we provide guidance to, get first-class service. Because to me, our client base is everything. It's really important that that we focus on them. At the same time, looking at the future, obviously continue to expand in the U.S. And finalizing our product for rollout here. But what we're building is jurisdictional and industry agnostic. We're building in a way to scale, and that means scaling beyond the boundaries of the United States and beyond the boundaries of the gaming industry.
Yeah, we're certainly expecting and hoping that Odds On Compliance is going to be right in the middle of all this growth in the sports betting industry as people start to come to terms with the regulatory differences across states and needing to solve for that. And so I just want to hit you with a few quick fire questions, get your thoughts on some things. I'm curious, in your perspective, what does the future of sports betting in the US look like?
Yeah, I think the future of sports betting is really, in my view, three things. It's continued regulation. So we're going to see continued expansion over the next couple of years. Ohio passed legislation at the end of last year. You'll see them probably early 2023 start launching, maybe sooner. We just saw an announcement today. It looks like Louisiana is going to launch on Friday. And you're going to see that expansion continue over the next couple of years. And then, quite frankly, I think you'll see an expansion thereafter into iGaming once people get comfortable with online sports betting. So continued regulation is number one. Expanded offerings is number two. So beyond your major leagues and your basic kind of college games, you'll see expansion into unique sports, and I think some of those smaller sports or niche sports are really doing a very good job understanding the needs around policy and self-governance, and in order to get to a point to allow sports betting on their products, and they're waking up to that. We help some smaller leagues kind of work through that process as well. So I think you'll see that expansion. And then the key thing that really has, quite frankly, nothing to do with compliance is I think you'll see hyper personalization. You think about your Netflix or your Amazon card or things like the way things look and feel, it could be different person to person, and I think that's really got to change, or that's going to be the focus for customer acquisition. Or quite frankly, customer retention long-term in the industry.
Yeah, that leads me nicely on to sort of my next question as well. And I guess maybe other than Odds On Compliance, what are the kinds of technologies that you think will really be powering the gaming industry into the future?
Yeah, I mean, it's to me, it's data science all day long. Really understanding customers and is not something unique to the gaming industry. So I think it certainly needs to, the amount of data that operators, that the industry captures about their customers. You think about the onboarding journey that people face. You think about their historic, historic play and wager that are regulatory mandates that we maintain and keep and certainly store in certain ways. All of that, can be viewed to build out a profile of every player or every customer that you have, for to offer them products that are personalized for them or that interest them, but also at the same time for protection purposes, to be able to map out players that are at risk better, and offer them services or opportunities for cooldowns and things like that. Understanding that way in advance of potentially even when that player could know that, using and leveraging data science and AI technology for sure.
Definitely. And yeah, we're completely in agreement, obviously, on our end at 76 Capital. And these are the kinds of technologies that we're super bullish on and want to be investing in. In your perspective, when you look across the entire legal regulated gaming industry, where is one area that you think isn't getting enough attention at the moment?
I think one thing that's going to come to pass is iGaming in the U.S. and how that plays out. Once states start looking at that, but also beyond that to skill-based gaming and some of the other games that are out, offerings that are out there, and really understanding, getting a clear, definitive line on kind of what's inside the tent, what's outside the tent. Certainly on a state-by-state basis, it's difficult for people to understand that, and it's costly. Just partially some of what we're trying to provide to make that a little bit easier. But in those grayer areas, you have companies that want to do the right thing and really do believe in it. But just aren't sure and don't know where to turn to. So I think that's a piece of the industry that could really use some attention.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Thank you so much. So I definitely want to make sure we leave a little bit of time at the end for Q&A, but also want to allow you to sort of leave some concluding remarks here about odds-on compliance specifically, and how you view everything you're doing at odds-on compliance as playing an integral role in the industry as it continues to evolve.
Sure. No, I appreciate the time today, and happy to take any questions. For me, this is a job, but it's so much more than that. It's a passion. It's this is I love what I do. I love the team that I'm surrounded with. I love the opportunities like this just to chat, and just kind of welcome anyone really to reach out to me on Twitter, LinkedIn. I will I'll talk your ear off about regulation or anything or questions. Happy to be a resource. I just I love what I do, and the team that I have around me helping me with the success that we've had. It's quite remarkable. If I thought about when I mapped this out, when my co-founder Mark and I were mapping this out just a little bit over a year ago, if we thought we'd be where we are today with great partners and not just funding partners and 76 Tech Corp and the other investors, but the strategic partners and having them as a resource, and you guys as a resource, and then having the client base that we have, and then most importantly to me, the team that we have is I would have never believed it, and just enjoying what we're doing.
Amazing. Well, Eric, thank you again so much for joining me here. Please make sure to watch Eric's episode of the 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show. You can see that at youtube.com/76capital. Remember to like and subscribe and follow Eric on Twitter. He will get back to you at Eric Daniel Frank. Subscribe to Odds on Compliance on LinkedIn and follow 76 Capital on Twitter at 76 Capital for all the latest sports business news and updates and everything going on in the sports tech startup world. Thank you everyone so much for joining today. This was great. Thank you, Eric, again. And yeah, looking forward to welcoming any questions.
Thank you, Ty. Thank you, Eric. Yeah, this is what happens when you are coached by the best of the best, like Wayne Kimmel, because I definitely see his touch in all of this collaboration and everything you guys do over there at 76 Capital and at Odds on Compliance. Thank you so much, guys. All right.
Thank you, Zoltan.
Learning a lot from Wayne about about running a business and succeeding, and just happy to have him be part of the team.
Happy to hear that, and you are in great hands.